Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of 3 between Zown here in the bottom left spawning as our blue Protoss player, and on the top right in the red trunks, the biggest of all European Terran players, perhaps even the biggest in the world. It is of course Large Gabriel, also known as HeRoMaRinE, here in this best of 3 against Zown, a rematch earlier from this year at the World Championships at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, in which HeRoMaRinE managed to take out Zown with a 3-1 score. Back then, I think a lot of people considered that a pretty decent upset. Not necessarily because HeRoMaRinE wasn't known to be good against Protoss, but because at that time Zown was extremely strong against Terran. I still think that is the case. I also still believe that HeRoMaRinE is very competent as a Terran versus Protoss player. When it matters in these big tournaments, he tends to just beat Zown. I want to say they played at Home Story as well. Maybe they even played at the TSL. I can't quite recall. I remember somewhat recent in the past 2-3 months where HeRoMaRinE managed to take out Zown, and we're going to see if it's going to be the case here as well. I do feel like HeRoMaRinE has had his number at least a little bit, which is interesting because historically, European Terran players didn't fare too well against Korean Protosses. If you think of the entire history of StarCraft 2, recently that has turned around a little bit with Clem, HeRoMaRinE, sometimes even Spirit to a certain extent as well, kind of showing that it indeed is possible to perform at the highest level against these Korean tosses. Twilight Council is being started here for Zown. If there's one thing that I really like about Zown, it tends to be his build orders. His early game, his build orders, his knowledge on how to deal with situations is absolutely top level. It's actually one of the best in the business. Sometimes falls off a little bit in the later stages of the game, or if the game doesn't exactly go how he wants it to in the early game, he can feel a little bit weaker, but majority of the time, I think his early game is pretty much flawless. This time opening up with a very fast Twilight Council, 220 it went down. And we see a Stalker as a second unit, kind of receiving these Reapers on the high ground. Almost takes out one Reaper, but HeRoMaRinE manages to keep both of them alive for now. Battery on the low ground here. We'll keep this mineral line as well as this Stalker safe for the time being. Oh, look at this. A Ryung-esque opener here, something that we kind of seen popularized by the South Korean Terran player Ryung at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. It is double gas opener, 2 Reaper. Oh, this is 3 Reaper to Hellion actually. Oh, this is heavy pressure here. This is no minor investment. This actually needs to deal some damage. And then the follow-up is going to be a Cyclone for some, defensive presence, and followed with a couple of extra barracks. So just kind of a twist on a regular 3-Rex. You have this early pressure here, you have that factory, and you basically have the Protoss player shivering in his boots, being afraid of whatever it is that the Terran might throw at him, because Toss, completely unaware currently of what's kicking off, just knows that there's a factory, could potentially be preparing for something like a mine drop. I'd be very surprised to see Zown actually move across the map quickly with this, because there's really no reason for it. Most likely he's just going to stay at home for a little bit longer, and ooh. Zown actually might be on the receiving end here of an attack, now that I look at this. This looks like some serious investment into a push here. Look at that, second tank on the way already. Don't think we saw any major cuts in the workers on the side of HeRoMaRinE. Hellion sees the lack of a third base though. Blink finishing up in a couple of seconds means that this Hellion will indeed die. And there is going to be a Nexus. But there's also a 3-gate pressure with this Prism, so a bit of a... Ooh! HeRoMaRinE getting the scout, and this is something important. Look at that. Sees the lack of a probe building. And HeRoMaRinE probably knows what that means. It's gonna just stay at home most likely with this little tank army. Yeah, even wanting to build a bunker, I don't mind it actually. This is a setup where usually you'd say, alright, we want to attack with this. But after scouting what HeRoMaRinE scouted, I think he's just going to stay at home. And he's preparing for a potential 3 or 4 gate prism pressure, which is indeed coming his way. 2 more gateways are on the way here, 3 more gateways on the way for Zown. These Stalkers will take out the first Reaper, but 2 Reapers still manage to escape over here. Still have no starport on the way, do we? No. eBay, more tanks. I wonder if the actual plan for... Yeah, okay, HeRoMaRinE's still actually gonna go for it, despite there being a bunch of Stalkers out on the map, despite there being a Prism as well, and despite HeRoMaRinE being very well aware of the fact that there's at least 3 gateways continuously producing Stalkers here. HeRoMaRinE says, hey, I went for this build. I'm going to stick with it. I'm not actually sure if this is the correct call though. Charge is 45% done here. Reapers might be capable of dealing a bit of damage. Immortal chronoing out. Battery is on the way. This kiting could have been a lot better though. I'm not a huge fan of actually what Zown has been performing here. Instead, it's going to blink back to try and kill those Reapers, but here come the Marauders, the Marines. Super Battery does get activated. Triple tanks might be capable of bursting down this pylon. There we go. Super Battery is not here anymore, and a lot of these gateways unpowered. 5 more will come online momentarily, as well as Charge finishing up soon. Love to see a couple of Zealots being warped in. Yep, for that flanking ability is 46 workers against 40, but there is a couple of SCVs in this army, and there's no real follow-up available right now. Oh my god, what are you doing, Zown? These guys don't have charge. No. Oh, it's gonna blink forward on top of this, but almost feels like he ruined this. This was a perfect opportunity to crush it, and he completely botches it. What an error here. Sending in the Zealots before the charge and not waiting for another warp in. I don't think there was any real reason to go in immediately at this point. He could have definitely waited for 5 more Zealots to warp in from these gateways, but instead he's just going to lose every single unit, and HeRoMaRinE takes game number 1. That win definitely is going to make HeRoMaRinE feel a little bit more comfortable in this series. As, I'm honestly surprised that it went as well as it did. I don't think it should have. The two main areas that I kind of want to focus on in the criticism is kind of the lack of kiting with the Stalkers during the initial push out. If a Terran moves out at 5:30 with tanks, Marine, Marauder, there's not going to be any medevacs available, which means that Stim can't be activated, and you have a free kiting ability. You should be capable of picking off either damaging Marauders or picking off Marines, especially if you have like 6-7 Stalkers, 3 gateways. I'm not so sure why that felt so difficult there for Zown. And then to add on to that, there was no backup pylon for the Super Battery. There was no healing of the Super Battery on that pylon. And of course, that final flank that we went for 5 seconds before charge finishes up, that surely is a mistake. I also don't believe it was necessary. Like, he could have waited those 5 seconds. He probably had 10, 12 more seconds to wait before his Nexus was going to be in serious danger and before the bunkers would be up. So I'm kind of surprised by how quickly Zown decided to pull the trigger there. And HeRoMaRinE takes game number 1 in a way more convincing fashion than I ever really think he should have. Now, we once again have HeRoMaRinE opening up with a double gas opener. Despite, honestly, the first 5 units not really dealing any damage whatsoever. Those 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions. The only thing the Reapers really did was force the Stalkers back home. That's about it. I don't think, it's something to write home about, but maybe HeRoMaRinE has different plans this time around. Is opening up with a Reaper once more, and I know he likes those double Reapers at least. It's very rare to see him open up with a Reaper into Reactor, yeah. Oh! Did start at second Reaper, but actually cancelled it and instead gets a Reactor. That most of the time means that we get to see the CC on the high ground, but not for HeRoMaRinE. This is a little bit risky. This actually is a little bit risky. If the first unit is an Adept and gets chronoed across the map, gets shaded across the map, this CC is going to be in major trouble. More units can be rallied across the map, and with just a single Reaper, you're not going to be capable of holding it. It is as simple as that. HeRoMaRinE is aware of that, took a pretty major risk there, especially given the fact that he hadn't scouted with an SCV either, so anything of the sort of like maybe a proxy gateway or even like a 12 pylon 13 gateway definitely would have been capable of stopping what HeRoMaRinE is doing here, and HeRoMaRinE would have been incapable of doing anything about that whatsoever. This Reaper in a little bit of trouble, but with a good grenade is going to survive. 2 shots still remaining to kill it. A little bit of wiggle room there for Big Gabe. Follow-up is very different as we see a fast starport into a couple of mines. First mine is out, second mine is on the way, and the medevac starts immediately as well. I really do like this as an opener. Sadly for HeRoMaRinE, I also really like the opener here for Zown. Whoop! Pops over this little wall, gets the scout. That is a big scout actually. That is a very important scout. Seeing that first unit being a Phoenix, knowing what's going on, I think we might see a change of plans here. This was most likely going to be a medevac mine drop, but instead, I'd be surprised to see these mines leave this base. At least anytime soon. Not for the next 20, 30, 40... Actually, for the next 2 minutes. I don't really see them leave. Cyclone gets produced. We have a Viking on the way here as well. Marines continue their production too. I love this so much. HeRoMaRinE is so consistent in this as well. Like whenever a mine gets spotted by a unit and the unit doesn't fly in, he immediately moves the mine into a new location. So every single time as a Protoss, when you move in with the Phoenix, you need to check all the locations where a mine could possibly be. Above factories, above command centers, in between mineral patches and refineries, above a refinery, just under the SCVs, or just any random location on the edge of your base. It's all possible for HeRoMaRinE. Zown isn't quite sure if the medevac with the mines moved out and is being very careful about it. Kinda do like that a lot. These 3 Phoenixes I don't think are going to be capable of fighting the 2 Marines, the Viking and the Cyclone. And I would not advise that they try to fight that either. The Phoenix is attempting to move in. There is a mine in that mineral line. Oh, here comes a potential surround. Is Viking maybe in a little bit of trouble? No. Phoenix is perhaps in a little bit of trouble. I think this Phoenix took some damage as well. Yeah, there we go. 4 Phoenixes are out. This is going to be a 1-1-1 push. Delayed barracks 2, delayed barracks 3. No third command center either. HeRoMaRinE is on the warpath right now, and he is planning to take out Zown very quickly in this series. After taking that game 1 with a push at the 5-minute mark, he said, hey, never change a winning team. Let's pop out again and see what happens over here. Vikings moving in, hunting for these Phoenixes. Are not quite going to catch his. Phoenix is in the back. We're looking for something, but are not going to get it either. At least not that I'm aware of. This is such a good situation here for Zown, honestly. No third base on the way. Is already teching, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Into Colossus with that Robo Bay out. Has a lot of Phoenixes. Has a lot of adepts. Holy crap. How many gates do you have here, mate? 3? No, just 2 gates. Has been producing almost consistently then. Immortal is out as well. HeRoMaRinE actually should be a little bit careful at this moment, because if there's a shade forward and Zown lets that finish, HeRoMaRinE could be in trouble. There is a 3rd CC on the way, and we have more tanks in production. More Vikings coming out as well. Is there going to be a round 2 here? I don't think so. With that Colossi on the way out already, I actually believe that Zown has a very successful hold here on this game. He's not going to be in any trouble whatsoever. God, I love this so much. This amount of adepts is beautiful as well. 6 adepts out on the map. We had, what, 3 Stalkers and Immortals, so many Phoenixes. We're still continuing that Phoenix production as well, despite already teching into a Forge and a Twilight at a relatively high pace. The one thing that doesn't feel brilliant right now for Zown is the fact that the worker count is very, very close. But he can quickly fix that just by chrono boosting his workers a couple of times, rapidly moving into that 6 gas. And don't forget that Phoenixes are basically tradable eco. At any moment in time right now, Zown can decide to just trade these Phoenixes for eco. If you would really want to, you could lose 6 Phoenixes and probably kill 8-9 workers. So that's always a possibility. So as long as your Phoenixes are alive, they really, I always kind of count them as workers as well. You know, a Phoenix is like a worker or a worker and a half perhaps. Because if you really want to, you could always trade that in at any point. So despite the actual worker count looking very favorable for the Terran in this moment, I don't mind the position of the Protoss all that much. There's 6 Phoenixes on the map. There's a Templar Archives on the way as well. We're sticking with our 4 gases. No, going up to 6. That's interesting. We already have the extra gates coming in. Going up to 8, I believe this is. Yep, going up to 8 gateways. Yeah, kind of don't mind it actually. Like the 6 gas in this case. Sometimes I feel like the 6 gas delays your forward base and delays your infrastructure, but Zown seems to have a very good idea on how to proceed in this game. It's gonna get a pretty fast forward base, already has the money for the Nexus available, and it's gonna throw it down immediately as well. Archon is on the way, being morphed already. The actual Colossi, oh, no wonder he managed to build so many units. It's because he just completely skipped out on Colossi. I was like, man, how does he do that? He did get the thermal lens and a single Colossus, but that's about it. And his opponent has a lot of Vikings already out. There is a second starport being built right now. This almost feels like an old school way of approaching this matchup. Kind of how we did it in Heart of the Swarm. It was very common to open up with a single Colossus and then quickly tech into Storm or quickly tech into Zealot, Archon, Immortal. Then the opponent would play double starport with a bunch of Vikings, and you wouldn't give a crap about that because you only build a single Colossus. Now, this kind of plays out similar. Of course, you still have these Phoenixes, so even if HeRoMaRinE gets 10 Vikings, it sucks for HeRoMaRinE, but he can still kill the Phoenixes for free, and there's still a single Colossi. He's already getting a Ghost Academy as well, so I do believe he's gonna go for that kind of... Ooh, what is that? A Reaper? That's a mistake. It's not a Reaper. It's a huge error. 50 gas you're never gonna see back, buddy. God, what a useless unit. But yeah, this feels like a kind of a 3-base all-in push that HeRoMaRinE is setting up here. Does he have the Ghost out already? No, he doesn't. Hasn't even started producing them yet. These are also Marauders. He's massively supply blocked, building 3 depots at a time. This looks pretty bad for HeRoMaRinE, honestly. He's doing everything at the same time. Ghost Academy, second Starport, 2 E-base, another Armory. Like, he just doesn't have the gas to support any of these hobbies. And Disruptors are out right now. This is going to suck massively here for Big Gabe. Does not really have the army to deal with Archons. You need Ghost in order to deal with Archons. And if Zown sets up a semi-efficient flank, I don't really think it's possible here for HeRoMaRinE to win this fight, is it? Here we go, big push out, lifts a lot of these tanks as well. 3 Immortals helping out for sure. Guardian Shield not active anymore, but I don't really think it's going to matter either. Viking count not even high enough to take out this Colossus. This fight was an error out of HeRoMaRinE. Colossus is going to fall on the tail end of that engagement, but this was great. This really was great for Zown. Complete control of the game right now. Fort base already done. 70. How does HeRoMaRinE have 79 workers but not a fort base yet? He just continued building workers. It's massively oversaturated in the natural, oversaturated in the main, oversaturated in the third. He has a lot of supply, but none of that is actually an army. That is a pretty big mistake here coming out of Big Gabe. Big Purification Nova is hitting on top of all of his units, and I do believe that Zown is moving into a victorious position here, forcing a lift on this base. Fort base is being constructed right next to it. Turret gets taken out. Are there still any Phoenixes alive? No, there are not. There's no Prism either for quick reinforcement warp, and so that's the one thing that might be stopping from Zown from pushing in extremely hard. Keep control out of HeRoMaRinE as well, allowing a lot of these units to stay alive. CC in a little bit of trouble. Fort CC has been cancelled as well, so I think Zown's work here is actually pretty much done already. He can return back home, relax on his 4 bases, wait until his Disruptor count grows even further, but I don't think he quite wants to. 10 more Zealots get warped in at home. He still has some Disruptors available. Yeah, 1 Purification Nova, so he can zone this army away. Blink has finished up as well. We have Charge Blink, 2-1 upgrades, superior army supply, better economy, and better infrastructure. So in short, HeRoMaRinE is pretty darn dead. He might have 1 more push in him, but he's going to need to build some Ghost, and he will need to split like his life depends on it, because his life does depend on these splits. I'm a big fan of these Liberators being rallied across the map, even more so maybe than going for Ghost. Liberators really sometimes allow you to win games that you shouldn't be allowed to win. Here we go, can they set up in time? Big blink forward, here come the Lips, here come the Lips. Ay, 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 but once again the Lips not going to be enough. Blink forward out of Zown. Where's that Prism, my man? He's gonna fly into the main base. That is how comfortable he is in this game. He says, okay, I'm winning the fight in the middle. Now I'm going to win this fight against your SCVs as well at the same time. +2 armor is on the way, and I mean, Big Gabe is just being completely slaughtered in this game. 81 workers, 5th base on the way, as Zown is marching to victory. Good control on the Zealots in the main, not walking them straight into the Liberators. 10 SCVs have gone down already, more are about to fall, as these pickups are not going to be good enough. The control for HeRoMaRinE is good, but there's just not enough units anymore. GG gets called, and Zown wins game number 2. That brings us to game number 3 here in this best of 3. And that means that this is the final game for today. Oh no, how awful. All good things come to an end, and so will this series. It's been a very aggressive one, a very high-paced series so far, I have to admit. This is not something I used to see from HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE is a player that usually he kind of, takes it on the chin a little bit and then knocks you out with 1 punch. That tends to be his style, but I guess that's kind of what he did in game 1, except he didn't take it on the chin at all. Yeah, he hit his chin. It's like, I have no chins. Some people have double chins or triple chins. HeRoMaRinE doesn't have a chin at all. That's how sharp his jawline is. Crazy. Where was I? Right. Double gas opener here for HeRoMaRinE. Somewhat interesting. We've seen it twice already. So instead, let's focus on what Zown is doing. That's a whole lot more interesting. Lots of workers in gas. Now, is Zown the type of player that after winning a game with Stargate and losing a game with Twilight is just going to play Stargate again? Maybe, yeah. That's what I would do for sure. Even if this is a different map, Decisive is a fantastic map for Stargate, specifically, but let's take a look. What are you gonna do here, buddy? Yeah, no warp gate. He's also not building an adept though. Actually got supply block, which is kind of bad. Pretty low tier move, I have to admit. It is going to be a Stargate though. I like that. I really do like that. I think Stargate against these double gas openers in general is fantastic. It allows you so much freedom in the early phase, and he really seems to have that early game down as well on how to deal with any potential 1-1-1 pushes. I really did like how he played it all together. Cool little, you know, fake Colossus build in a way. Managed to trick HeRoMaRinE, who delayed his Ghost Academy way more than he should have in that last game. So, yeah, I'm a fan of what Zown did there. And I don't think HeRoMaRinE was much of a fan. He probably feels a little bit tricked. Sometimes you don't quite understand why you lost the game, and this could have been one of those games where you're like, hey, what actually happened here? Like, why? What went wrong for me? And he'll think back, it's like, wait, there was only a single Colossus, wasn't there? There was really quick extra gateways, and that can be a big influencing factor. Now, these Reapers already dealing a little bit of damage. We see one probe being taken out. Slightly different opener than last time. From HeRoMaRinE. Oh, this is going to be an Oracle. No, it's going to be a Phoenix still. He has a lot of gas though, doesn't he? This guy. Oh my god. That's actually a lot of gas. Okay, 2 Reapers go onto the high ground. See this Adept, and Adept accidentally shoots the Hellion first. Could get a shot there. Oh my god. 1 Reaper gets taken out. Nice little start here. The Reapers don't actually get a read on what this is. So far they've seen an Adept and a Stalker, and it actually indicates Twilight more than it indicates Phoenix. And I usually am not a fan of hiding Phoenixes, keeping Phoenixes at home. But in this case, yeah, I do really like that. I also like that we're not seeing a fast Robo in the wall. Uh-oh. This is an important scout. This is a really important scout. It's not going to get to see anything except for that gateway. It did not see a robotics facility, and it is going to lead HeRoMaRinE perhaps to drop these mines. We'll have to wait and see. Yep, there we go. Oh, this is disaster. This is a disaster in the making, my friends. Would you look at that? Hellion once again going in. If I'm HeRoMaRinE right now, I'm probably thinking of something like a Twilight Council opener into a 2 or 3 gate blink. And now this robo timing actually kind of shows that. Ah, here we go. Phoenixes get shown and immediately the medevac turns 180 degrees and says, alright, I'm going back home. I don't want to be on the map. Really important scout there out of that Reaper. That could have been game ending otherwise, because Zown was sending all the wrong signals to HeRoMaRinE, and HeRoMaRinE was happily receiving them. It was like, oh nice, Adept and a Stalker, that's cool. Late Robo, not in the wall, that's also cool. Second gateway in the wall, okay. This all feels like Twilight Council. Oh no. What is that? No, that's a... Oh my god. No way! He saves them. The absolute legend saves them. Gets 2 shots off. 1 Phoenix in the red, kills 1 Phoenix as well, and keeps both of these mines alive. On top of that, this is going to be a 1-1-1 push. And HeRoMaRinE is well aware of what happened in the previous game after doing such a 1-1-1 push, but he's still going to try it again. This time though, I don't actually think that Zown is quite as ready. Where are the Adepts? Okay, we have 1 more Adept on the way. There's already 3 Phoenixes out. Another Adept being warped in. Tiny little supply block here. Battery is being constructed. Actually, this setup is very similar to the last one, except he lost 1 Phoenix for free. So that definitely sucks. There are less Stalkers as well, and the tank count is at 2. I actually believe that HeRoMaRinE, if he sieges up here, could potentially deal some real damage. Now, what these Phoenixes should be doing at this point is probably staying behind the army to pick off any reinforcing units, because if this push gets reinforced and you are not getting charged, you're not getting anything of any real game-changing unit, you're just going to lose, because there's going to be bunkers, tanks will be in positions, and more reinforcements. This move is simply too late. The Cyclone and the extra Viking have already arrived. Oh, here comes an unsiege on those tanks. Vikings trying to take out the Phoenixes. Will not quite manage to do it, but will deal a little bit of damage. Cyclone now locking on as well. Batteries are going to be emptied out at this phase. Behind this, we have extra barracks on the way. 5 barracks already done. So there is a backup plan here for HeRoMaRinE, but I'm not even quite sure if he's going to need it here. He's playing so aggressive this series, and it's working out beautifully. Really understanding how to fight against a player like Zown. Ooh, Cyclone gets taken out for free there. That was a little bit sloppy. Jumps. What? jumps on top of this army, loses every single Phoenix for free. I think this is just going to be it. Look at the amount of Marines that are being queued up here. That's the Terran macro for you there, my friends. Yeah, 6 Marines in 1 barracks. That doesn't speed them up, my friend. Doesn't speed them up, but I like the thought. This is just practically game over now. Look at all of these probes that are going to be going down as well. Immortals falling. Phoenix count has been decimated as well. Mine shot is going to connect. Perhaps this is going to get cleaned up. But 55 workers against 37. A misplaced third base. But I don't think HeRoMaRinE is going to give a single crap as he completely destroyed Zown here in the first 7 minutes of this game. And 3 games, 3 very quick tank-based pushes, or at least factory-based pushes. This one had a couple of starport units as well. We now have a move-in with this medevac. Might actually just send it around. I mean, every single Phoenix has been taken out. HeRoMaRinE is aware of that. How are you going to deal with this drop? There's no blink. There are no stalkers. There are no Phoenix. Good luck catching this. 1 Phoenix is now being built, but I don't think that is going to be enough. This observer was just a little bit too late for what it wanted. When it came to the vision, and just wasn't in time with scouting how massive that push out was. I think Zown believed that he could pull a similar stunt as he did in the last game, and he could just stop it from ever really setting up. That's why the Phoenixes were with the main army and not behind picking off the reinforcement line, but it ended up being a pretty huge error that HeRoMaRinE absolutely captured. You know, he was like, alright, you make this error, I capitalize on this, and now Zown is in a terrible spot. And honestly, this game seems to be ending here in the near future. This observer is going to move back a little bit. HeRoMaRinE already has stim, already has +1, has combat shield on the way, and Zown is down, what is it, 16 workers. You could say, why would HeRoMaRinE attack? And the reason for that is because he thinks he can win. You could say, well, he's so far ahead, couldn't he just outplay his opponent in a longer game? But why would you want to try and outplay your opponent in a longer game if most likely you're just going to be capable of killing them outright with your next tank push? There's still 2 tanks alive. There's a bunch of medevacs. Combat shield's about to finish up as well. The Marauders are fighting. Oh, with that Colossus, these 8 Marines are going to get caught by the Phoenixes. But who's catching who here? Well, it's definitely the Phoenixes catching this medevac. 1 Phoenix. No, all of them are going to stay alive. As I think 1 Marine ended up dying here. There's still a massive advantage when it comes to the supply. Oh no. This is going to be a pretty big loadout. No, it ain't. Going to drop them once more. Sieges up the tanks. Still believes he can kill his opponent here. And I agree with that belief. I think it is based, in fact, in reality. As he stims forward, takes out the Colossus, takes out the Immortals, takes out the battery as HeRoMaRinE wins the series 2-1 after 3 very aggressive games out of him. It worked twice and it failed once, but it's good enough to take out Zown here and show once more that European TVP is nothing to mess with. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this series, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.